Okay. Hey Ruth, this is Style. Just hearing you out your of what's taking place with your situation of I guess you mentioned you were asked to go to court, but you felt derailed or trained or something. What was the scenario?
Actually, the scenario is that I'm being treated unfairly in the United States court
Mm,
um, by one of their magistrates, and I have been asked to leave the apartments. It's the Park Terrace Apartments. Park Terrace Apartments is managed by Cascade Management Company.
mm,
It's all online. You look up Cascade Management Company, you find that they're one of the poorest management companies probably in the nation. And they have mold in those apartments, and they have lead in those apartments.
mm.
And and they're predominantly people of color. It's like a genocide camp.
Mm.
And
Well,
I didn't know it, of course, when I moved into that,
yeah.
uh, because I was going through a domestic violence situation and needed to get out of that
Mm.
immediately,
Right.
immediate danger.
Yeah.
And so it was just a situation where I needed to move. So I did move, but I didn't know I was moving. They mentioned lead, but they never did mention anything to me about mold, apartments. And then after a certain period of time, it started affecting my body
Yeah.
and I started feeling ill all the time and started um, losing my hair and just a lot of things started happening and um, feeling weak and just and I didn't know what was going on. So I had somebody to come in and do an inspection and come to find out they weren't supposed to be putting people in those apartments. And what they have been doing is um, the paying a penalty. They're subject to a penalty. I don't know if they're paying it or not, but
Mm.
for some reason, the city of Portland seems to be letting them continue to put people in those apartments. They don't need to be putting nobody in those apartments.
What year is this that you were moved in there and to now?
I
How
moved
long
in
has it been?
there. I moved in there in 2022, I believe it was.
So just after
Um,
the pandemic of sort, the 2022, after the COVID scenario or something? Was it during or after? Must have been right after, right?
um,
Or during, I think. I think it was 2022 till 2023 or something like that. I don't remember. 2 years.
yeah, that's about right in that area when COVID came into uh,
No, 2020
became.
was when that had happened, I think in the spring. Uh,
Well, I've been there in those apartments for uh, going on 3 years.
yeah, so yeah, just about 3 years coming up here, 2025. Yep. Um, so what advocacy or any type of aid were they given or shared during your 3 years, if any, were
They
they?
not Go ahead. I'm a little upset, so please
Yeah.
you um, understand that they're not giving me any aid. They're asking me to move, and they're asking me to pay them. And they ask me to go search and find money for them. I'm not doing that because they're the one that violated the least. And I
Yeah, and
tried it
you
for a
did. I
while, and I got
imagine.
sick.
Were you able to send a letter indicating that you need the mold scenario or whatever else happening to be rectified for you to be able to live there? Or, and if not, because I thought I learned in the rental rules that if if they don't fix something with given notice, then they're supposed to help you, pay you money to help you transition, is what I've read somewhere in the Rentwell courses.
Well, I don't have anyone to assist me with this. I haven't had them to even keep their word. They said it was like uh, they didn't have any place else they could put me. It'd be a couple of years before they could put me on the waiting list, and it'd be a couple of years before they could, find another location for me. But even in them saying that, they're not even trying to keep that word. They haven't mentioned it again. That my name is on the waiting list. They don't send me anything. It's like they just forgot that I ever talked to someone. And these apartments are owned by the Portland Reinvestment Initiative.
Yeah.
And so I attempted to contact people on that board,
Hmm.
and someone called me, but in saying that they didn't have any place to put me in about a couple of years, they could relocate me. But they haven't even attempted to keep that, but they want me to keep paying rent. And I said, I can't keep looking for rent for you and be safe, because I need to get out of that environment. And I didn't really know that it was so unsafe until the sicker I got. So I kind of like was would be there every week, but I wouldn't stay there as often or as long as I had been because it was devastating to my health.
Yeah.
So
So
when I
so
stopped,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, so now they've escalated it to where they're asking you to be out uh this upcoming Thursday, and it was like told you were told that, oh, I guess
Right.
a
I went to
couple of Thursdays.
court. I They gave me what's called a 10-day notice of termination. And then after that, they gave me a day to, an eviction notice, a day to appear in court. Well, on the 23rd, January 23rd, I was feeling so, what was it? The day that they asked me to appear in court, I was not feeling well at all. So I didn't appear, but I did call them, at which time I asked for a layover, and the judge gave me until January the 27th, a
Hmm.
couple of weeks, to talk with uh, some of their people, but they never did call me to talk with me. And so their people are trained to get you into court, but they don't tell you that that's just a ploy to get you there so that they can railroad you out of your apartment. I never had my day in court. When I did go into court uh, on January the 27th, the administrator, the magistrate there, uh, just said that if I wanted an attorney, I would have had one, and I've been sick. I just haven't been able to do all of that. Work for them, find their monies, and take care of myself. Just tired and weak, and uh, feeling bad. Day by day. So
What is like? Is there a certain amount they're demanding, what have you, that
that
will?
demanded $4,000, whatever. The rent is like $641, I think, and 40 cents, something like that, every month. The
Hmm.
rent went up. It was 588, but it went up last year. Now it's 641,
Mm.
and they want me to pay that. But I don't know why I'm paying somebody to violate their lease. That doesn't make sense to me. So they're the ones that violate the lease. I did not. In fact, I wanted to stay there until I could move into a home, or someplace that was more conducive for living, because those apartments, they don't take care of them. Uh, you should see the the bathtub. It's a horrible place to live. They don't
Yeah.
they never came and cleaned the carpets. The carpet in the hallways are just horrible. They never cleaned the lights in the lobby. Uh, I was there for 3 years and they haven't touched that stuff. The only thing they do is keep the grounds looking decent and but they don't. If you call them, they'll only act in the case of an emergency. They don't do no ongoing maintenance. Um, and and in cases where they do some ongoing maintenance, any other things that need to be done that they know need to be done, they don't do them. They only do it if it gets to be an issue. So I asked them, and they did not do anything. They brought somebody over. It looked like it was somebody that was learning how to do work. They didn't know how um, to actually do that bathtub,
Yeah.
right, so that it would look decent. They get the bathtub, and bathtub start peeling within 2 or 3 weeks after they had done it. So it was a horrible sight, you know. Um, they When they knew I had called the city inspector came out and looked and gave them some recommendations, and even the city inspectors know there was mold in there. And most of the time, anybody who walked in there knew there was mold in there because they could smell it. Um, but the city inspector's attitude changed. Um, act like it wasn't severe. It was severe. My body won't take that mold. But they did recommend that they change the heating out. Well, they knew that heating was supposed to be changed already. They just hadn't changed it out. So before the city got in there to do an inspection, they changed that heaters out. So that tells you right there that I had been there for almost 3 years. They hadn't even changed that heating, and they knew that they needed to. And when the city inspector
Yeah.
came back in, that's when they changed it.
Yeah,
And
I'm not, I'm not too keen of what the process are of holding your landlords accountable, but I know once you write a letter and they don't do anything within, is it 15 days or 30 days, that
mhm,
that in theory is supposed to allow you to have some leverage or some posture in the situation. I just don't know anybody particularly that's successfully done it. But as I study how to be a renter, a good renter or whatever, a great renter with
mhm,
awareness, there's these paperwork trail that's supposed to happen. So when push comes to shove, you can showcase that document to the magistrates or whoever is running the accountable processing to where, like, if they didn't fix their heating for what, a year or two, then really that should be deducted from your rent, to where your rent is not even a rent, maybe, who knows. But those are my objectives, what I heard that could be
mhm.
addressed. Other than that, I know you would want me or anyone to be able to help document them, pretty much taking your stuff or not letting you in your unit or something here coming up soon.
Yeah, they when I went to court on January the 27th, they wanted me out. They didn't give me the opportunity to have legal representation. They told me since I was there that I might as well just go on and represent myself. And I told her I objected to that. And she said, well, I'm going to overrule your objections. And she treated me like I was an attorney. That is against the law. She's not supposed to do that. Uh, she gave me uh, a moment to what she called represent myself. I didn't ask her to let me represent myself. I told her I objected to these entire proceedings, and she still overruled my objections
Yeah.
and treated me like I was an attorney, saying things like, uh, I don't see no motion here before me. How the heck I'm going to do a motion? So she's in violation of the law. And so if she doesn't know how to administer law properly, she needs to not be on that sitting on that bench, whatever it is that she's sitting on. Because I hear that she's not a judge. There's been no judges for years, but she's considered a magistrate or an administrator. And the way she's doing her job, she's not treating people fairly and not giving them an opportunity to be represented. So I'm yet very much an objection to that. So I've been trying to reach some places uh, to see if I can't get someone to help me compose some letters. It's very difficult trying to get some help, and you need help.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think I went to a event at Urkel that catered to renters' rights. I'll have to look that up and forward you the
mhm.
email and such because there's board members that volunteer and are able to be a part of it, and it's supposed to help renters like you and others to have access to perhaps somebody helping them write a letter or do something where they could hold more
Please
accountability. So,
do please put me in contact with those people because that's what I need right now more than anything else. I need to get some kind of documentation into them. I don't think people realize, the type of duress and stress that you be under when you have to be obligated to pay rent one place and then you still got to live someplace else in order to be out the environment. You got to have some way to protect yourself from that environment, and then you got to. Um, it's difficult. It's very difficult to be trying to be responsible for one finance financial obligation, and then be in a place where you got another financial obligation. So they can do better than what they're doing. That whole place over there is nothing but a genocide camp, and they could have already started rebuilding or redeveloping that area, and they haven't done that. You know, so to me, they're guilty of genocide, and I don't intend to be the victim. But I do need some help in trying to get some representation. So because I need a roof over my head, just like everybody else. Um, the main thing is dealing with that court and the court knowing that they're wrong, but the court seems to side with the landlord, and they know that that particular landlord has a just a horrible record for being they're slum landlords,
yeah.
and it's bad that people have to be under that type of scrutiny, or living under those type of conditions.
Yeah.
That's not fair to anybody.
I just sent to you the Community Alliance of Tenants. It's OregonCat.org. And hopefully, if you reach out to this organization, tomorrow, as soon as you can, find out if there's any advocacy in whatever they can do to help this
I
matter.
did I did reach out to the Oregon Alliance of Tenants, CAT,
There's a
and
hotline that remains open through the winter here.
say that again.
There's a hotline.
Yes, I made contact with them, and they did make that recommendation that you write something up and get them to it. But I didn't have anybody to assist me in writing anything. Uh, I need I needed that service,
Yeah,
But
and
they did recommend that. They did
that's
recommend that. So,
that's see that's the challenge right here. I don't see if there's no way to hold them accountable to the timing of what you are saying,
mhm.
they're gonna bulldoze over with their regulations or their rules. And if you don't play by their rules, which Oregon Tenant and other places create unions to help advocate for people's rights, then there's this. It's almost like playing a chessboard game like chess. If if no one if you both don't agree to the move that had happened and it's okay move, then the next move doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They're gonna say whoever moved last wins, and in their case they moved last because if you didn't get to hold them to the next move, then they're gonna say, well, they're probably gonna say you need to find someone in the community like me or a family member or a friend who's available to help you draft up that document and send it in. And now that it's become this far in the game, I don't know how much it will do. Besides, maybe not having to pay that $4,000 is, you know, whatever. That's like, yeah, if you don't feel like your living space was accommodating to pay that amount they're asking for, then and they never fixed it, and it sounds like they haven't, then you know they're gonna have to just figure that out. And then I,
The fact of the matter is, I know that apartment is full of mold because I began to get ill. I didn't have the problems that I was having until I got there. You know,
yeah,
um, and with regard to reaching out to an agency that tells you what your next move is, they yet are not available to give me the help that I need, which was to help me compose that document and to
yeah,
then to be and have someone there with me in court. You know,
yeah,
they were not able to do that, and I never did hear that being an option from them. And I had phone problems, people hacking into my phone, and I believe that was because they didn't want me to have any help. It's been a lot of things going on that has prevented me from doing something to help myself. So I do need to make this public. Uh, I do need it to be out there so that people can know what's going on within this particular location within the United States. I am indigenous Indian and Moroccan, and I informed the court of that. I wasn't even supposed to be in that jurisdiction. These cases should be referred to the proper jurisdiction. The magistrate did not do her job very well. Act like she didn't hear what I said at all. It was just like she turned a deaf ear to anything I was saying. And this is how they treat people, particularly people that are melanin enriched. And they don't want you to be in your jurisdiction because they want control. And my nation is in the process of decolonizing, separating Morocco from the United States, and they don't want to adhere to that. So it is the way that they treat Moroccans because they know that there's a treaty in place, and I am an heir to the land. I have every right to be there um, as an indigenous Indian, as well as being Moroccan. So you see, they are violating my rights just on account of the treaty. And then they further violate my rights when I'm ill because they have violated the lease. And they further violate my rights when they don't give me my day in court. So I need to make sure that they know that I am looking at what they're doing, and there's other people that's looking at what they're doing. Everybody over in that apartment, none of them need to be paying rent right now. None of them. I want to put that out on the air. I want other people to hear. They don't have to pay rent. What they paying rent for? To die?
mm.
They need that money just to take care of themselves. You know, it takes a lot to take care of yourself when you're sick every day. Um,
Yeah,
and they
on that notion of being sick and people have disabilities, I think people with disabilities do get almost a free rental living scenario. I don't know if you fall into that category, but you may so that's perhaps something to investigate into. And being indigenous also plays a big role, I think, in
But
having
when you,
ability to
yeah, I
live in
think you're
different
right.
spaces.
I think you're right about that. And if you have any information that you can send me about, or anybody that may be listening to this particular streaming,
Mhm.
I'd like to do a podcast on it, or
What's what's the best way to get in touch with you? Is there a simple email? Keep it the simplest, or is there a phone
they
number
can
you're willing to share? What works better or best?
they can contact me at 503
Mm-hmm.
969 9799, or they can email me at ptsldnelza@gmail.com,
Okay.
or they can do matriarchs and stewards at yahoo.com. Um, because this land is under decolonization right now. They need to respect that. They're not respecting that. And that's big. And I expect them to know that I'm going to carry this to the highest court in the nation, all over the world. They will respect these treaties because they made them, and then they turn around and do not want to adhere to them. And then when people want to get out from under their control, they further try to keep you under their control
Mm.
because they want to keep control of the land. But that is no longer their job. There's many people that can take care of their own land. Who wants to be under a nation that's trying to uh, demonstrate genocide on you? Who wants to be under a nation that's trying not to help you, but say that they're trying to help you? You know, they do everything except try to take care of the people within their own nation, especially if you're melanin enriched, because they know that the heirs of this land, it belongs to the Moroccans, and they do not want the Moroccans to for this land to fall back into the control of the Moroccans. That's their main concern. So that's why they don't want to observe Moroccans. That's why they tried to write us out of the nation as a people.
All right. Who do they address when they email or phone call? Who are they asking for to help here? Just so people
My
would get this. Okay.
my my name is Ruthie. RU capital THEE Bay BEY. You can contact me at that address or at that phone number.
Go ahead and say it one more time, and we'll call it a wrap for now because it's just under 30
Ruthie
minutes.
Bay. Ruthie RU capital THEE.
And the email and a phone number, if you don't mind.
Email is ptsldnelza@gmail.com.
Another one's
Or
matriarch. Yeah, go ahead.
they consider, yeah, to matriarchs with an S and stewards with an S. It's
Hmm.
all spelled out, MATRIARCHS and AND,
Hmm.
stewards, STEWARDS, at yahoo.com. YAHOO.com.
Okay.
They can send an email to those two addresses, and one of them I should get. And then, or they can call me at 503 969 9799.
Sounds good.
And it's many people, it's just numerous senior citizens. It's even some children over there in those apartments with mold in it, and that's devastating.
Their health,
You
yeah,
know.
absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm gonna put this on the social media world where people would click listen and then reach out to you.
Yes.
And keep the conversation going, the what do you call it? The education going as well, because it's needed in order for things to change. So I'm gonna pray and wish for the best outcomes for you and those that you know in the situations. But I know we're gonna need to come together as a community and address things in perhaps a more humane and way with with integrity, because that's what humans are meant to
Absolutely, absolutely.
live.
Those keywords, those are great keywords. Integrity and humane, just being more human, more civilized, and knowing that we are people. We're not
Just
uh,
numbers, yeah, totally.
just numbers, and we're not animals. We are human beings, and we need to be treated as such.
Okay, well, Ruth, this is Style. Just sharing what you're sharing, because that's a part of my brand called Face Chapter, showcase your story. This is going to allow anyone that has the time and space to really connect some dots and help perhaps build bridges for each other. So,
Thank you, Stella. I appreciate that very much.
yeah.
I've given you all my information. Anyone, feel free to give me a call or a shout out at my email address. And I'm needing that support just as soon as possible. So, uh, again, they trying to send chef out at this time to remove me. I don't intend to go any place, but I need my things to stay where they are until I can find a place to be. Um, just have someone call me. I need to at least try to get my day in court. And anybody that's listening, please, you can help me out here. Help me do a letter or something. Give me a call. I would appreciate it very much.
All right, there you have it. Uh, Another episode for the books. Take as best care as you can, Ruthie, and
Thank you, Sal.
I'll be in touch soon.
All right.
Have a good rest of the evening.
Thanks. You as well.